Hi there, class 12th. Welcome to my channel with yet another video from my side. But before we start, I would like to tell you that there is a change in the format of the CBSE English core question paper, which I would be uploading here also. The changed marking scheme, pattern, everything I'm going to upload for your benefit. So please do take out time to have a look at that. And now the chapter I'm going to cover up today is The Enemy by Earl S. Buck. And this chapter is specially for few people. I don't remember their names just now, who have actually requested me to upload this video on The Enemy. First thing is that I would like to thank you people for watching my videos, and secondly, it's indeed a pleasure if you make such requests. I really appreciate your queries and try to sort it out as soon as possible. I got slightly late in this, so I'm really sorry for that. So over to The Enemy. The Enemy is one of the, I should say, the biggest chapters in vistas, and when children look at it, they feel, oh my God, who's going to read it? It's like so long. I agree with you. So my effort would be to tell you the story in a simple manner so that it would be short also. But definitely I'm going to cover up all the important details. So over to The Enemy. The Enemy is a beautiful story which is all about Sadao Hoki, who is a Japanese scientist and surgeon. And we come to know that he's living with his wife Hana, and their house is situated near the shore. And we learn that Sadao Hoki, he's Japanese, as I told you before, and this is the time of World War. And during this time, this thing we read in our history lessons, even though all of us are slightly sort of not much interested, I should say, in history. But this is a fact which all of us know, that America and Japan used to be the chief enemy nations. So, Dr. Sadao Hoki, who is a Japanese surgeon, he is just standing one evening outside his house along with his wife Hana. We are told that Sadao is a surgeon as well as a scientist who's trying to discover the fact that how wounds could be rendered entirely clean without even leaving a mark. So he's indeed a great surgeon. We learn that he is Japanese, and the Japanese as well as Americans, they were very well known for the things that these countries were the enemy nations due to many reasons, which I don't think would be fine enough to mention over here. So, the basic thing for us to understand here is this is the story of a Japanese surgeon who saves the life of an American naval officer, in spite of the fact that the American naval officer belongs to America, that is a nation which is his enemy, which is their enemy, the enemy of Japan, Japanese people. And this is what you need to concentrate upon. The question is, why does the surgeon help the enemy? Because uh, he's a great surgeon and scientist, and he feels that this is his moral responsibility and duty to save the life of a human being in need. And all these barriers of caste, creed, and color, a surgeon is above all that. So he saves the life of the American naval officer Tom. He has to go through lots of turmoil and trouble while doing that. So when the story starts, we are told that Sadao's bringing up by his family has been done in a manner that he is a patriot. At the time when his father was alive, when the story starts, his father is no more. So he used to tell Sadao that you should be proud of your country, Japan, because it's a great nation full of scenic beauty, and he should actually be proud of his country. So this doubt should not be there within us that Sadao, at any point of time in story, he's going to be a traitor. He's going to betray his own country and his own people, because he belongs to the family of patriots, as his father told him to love his country at the time when he was a child, and he grew up with the same feeling and fervor. His education was his father's chief concern, so he sent him to America for studying medicines, and that's all. That nowhere proves that he doesn't love his country. We are told that because World War is going on, so Japanese surgeons, they were sent along with the troops at the front, but Sadao remains. He's not sent to the war front because the general Takima, he only trusts Sadao. The general suffers from a problem of gallbladder, for which he might require operation anytime, and General Takima, a selfish, self-centered man who is ruthless, cruel, he would only be suggesting Sadao for his surgery because all the surgeons in Japan, they have been trained by Germans, and it is only Sadao who has been trained by Americans. Now this point is worth noting down, that German surgeons, it was believed, it was a well-known fact, that German surgeons, they were very well known for their ruthlessness, for their cruel way of treating the patients. That is what he believed, the general. And they were very well known for the thing that they just performed the surgery and did not give importance to saving the life of the patient. Whereas Americans believed more on the fact that an operation is only successful if the patient survives. So, in simple language, the general wants that he should be living. So he has more faith on Sadao, who has been trained by American surgeons. Because, as I told you, that at the age of 22, Sadao was sent to America for the study of medicines. So I hope this point is clear to you. So Sadao and Hana met at America only. Hana is his wife. They both met at America at one of Sadao's professors, American professor's house. Sadao did not want to go to his house because he has told his students to come for uh, dinner, and Sadao did not appreciate the food over there, and professor's wife was quite talkative. But still he attended that dinner which was given by the professor for all his students, where he met Hana, who was one of the students. And Sadao is such a staunch patriot that he starts liking Hana. But this is given in the story very clearly, that he, even before falling in love with her, wanted to first make sure whether she was a staunch Japanese or not. So Hana and Sadao, they met at America. And they did not get married in America because Sadao wanted to come to his own country, Japan, and then get married to Hana. So finally they came to Japan and got married in a typical Japanese manner. All that has been told to us just to tell us this fact that Sadao is indeed a patriot. So they now have two children. They are happily married. Their house is situated near the shore. Sadao's parents are no more. The reference of his father was given initially. Now, one evening, as they are standing outside their house, they notice that a man comes out of the sea and takes few steps, and finally he falls down. From the distance, they cannot make out who is he. So as they go near him, they find out that he's blonde. He is a white man, and beside him lies his cap, on which it's clearly written US Navy. So in other words, this man is their enemy. How come he is their enemy? Because he belongs to the enemy nation, America. And Sadao and Hana being Japanese, they love their country, staunch Japanese. So it comes to their mind that the condition of the man was really bad. He was first shot, so he was gunshot, and then the same place where he was shot, he was hit by a pointed sea rock. He fell down in the sea, and the same spot he was hit by a pointed sea rock. So the man had lost lots of blood. His condition was pathetic. He was bleeding badly, and for many days perhaps he had not eaten anything. So it was really very important to perform the surgery. He should be given aid, medical aid fast. But Sadao's dilemma, his confusion is what to do with this man. If he takes him to his house, then there was a problem. What was the problem? The servants in the house, they were again staunch Japanese. They loved their country. They were patriots. They would be questioning Sadao. And how come they would be questioning him? Because the servants are more like his parents. They had taken care of him when he was a child, and they would be certainly questioning him that why was their master trying to help an enemy. So Sadao's confusion, the dilemma is obviously Hana is also there along with him, that what should they do with the enemy? The first thing which comes to their mind that they should throw him back in the sea, but that would be really actually cruel, doing that to a man who is bleeding, who is unconscious, who requires medical aid. So finally, Sadao and Hana reach to a conclusion that he should be taken to their house, where Sadao, who is a great surgeon, who can do any surgery on his own, he would be doing his surgery, because after all, if he belonged to the enemy nation, but still he was a human being and should be saved. His life is important. Here we learn that Hana is definitely an obedient wife. She is educated, yet she follows all the instructions and guidelines given by Sadao with great respect, and she honors his decision. So both of them decide to take the enemy to their house. The enemy has been taken. Finally, they take them to his house, and where he is operated. We come to know about the servants. The main servant is Yumi. She is the caretaker of children. Another is the gardener, and another is the cook. Neither Yumi nor gardener, both of them, they are unhappy with Sadao's decision, and they want that their master should get rid of the enemy, this white man. It was not very correct on their part to help the white man. Sadao performs the surgery, which is successful. The bullet is near enemy's kidney. It is taken out carefully. He saves his life. One thing which I should be discussing at this point is that the first aid which Sadao gives to the enemy is at the beach only, where he finds him. What does he do? He picks up a little bit of sea moss and uses it as a plaster on the wound of the enemy. And after putting that, using the sea moss, the sea grass as a plaster, now we come back to that point when the enemy is in his house. The surgery is done. The old gardener is unhappy. He feels that the gun and the sea god would be against their master. The servants feel that Hana and Sadao had been, both of them, they were at America for a long duration of time. So perhaps they really have started loving Americans. They have soft corners for Americans, but it's not so. We know that very well. Finally, after the surgery, Hana is taking care of the enemy. She gives him the anesthetic, even when she washes him before the surgery. And when he comes to his consciousness, then also she feeds him. While all the time she's aware that he's a white man, she also hates Americans. But then also she respects her husband's decision and takes care of the enemy, whose name is Tom, and he is an American naval officer, as I told you. Now, days pass and Sadao starts typing a letter for the general in which he starts making this confession that he has given shelter to an enemy. We come to know that General is indeed a cruel man. His wife is a victim of domestic violence. He even tortures the enemies, the prisoners of the war. Another thing which we note that Hana notices there are certain marks, scars behind the ears of the enemy. These must be the torture marks, the torture given to the enemy by the army, the people, the soldiers of the general. Now, all this takes 6 years. All that takes 6 days. And on the seventh, after 6 days, what happened is two things happen. That is, servants quit. They quit their job because they cannot understand why their master was not getting rid of the enemy. And Sadao cannot just tell this man to go because his body is quite weak. The surgery is done very carefully and it's successful, but the man doesn't, he needs nourishment. So the servants quit their job. They say that when the white man would be leaving the house, they would return back. So the entire household work comes on Hana's shoulder, but she doesn't complain. Again, that shows that she's an obedient, a loyal wife, respects her husband's decision. Second thing which happens is that the general's messenger, they come over to call Sadao. The general is suffering from pain of gallbladder. Sadao, when he goes to examine the general, he tells him that about the enemy. And the general, again being a selfish man, he cannot take any decision against Sadao. So he tells him that he will be sending assassins, professional killers to his house, who will be killing the man silently and get rid of the body. So Sadao feels that fine, maybe his problem is solved. So 3 nights pass, no one comes. The assassins do not come. Sadao is nervous and unable to sleep for 3 nights, but no one comes. Sadao keeps on waiting, but no one arrives. So finally, after 3 days, Sadao takes a decision that he would be helping Tom to escape. So now Tom is healthy enough to leave his house. He brings a boat. Sadao brings a boat, puts some eatables, water, and things of essential things, the things of requirement in that boat. He tells Tom that you can go and hide in the nearby island and hide over there. Do not, you can catch fish. Eatables were still there also. You can catch fish, but don't cook it because smoke is going to attract the attention of the people. And after that, he tells him that you can he gives him a flashlight and tells him that you can signal me with this flashlight. And if you run out of food, then you can make 2 flashes. And if you are okay, but you don't need anything, then 1 flash would be telling me, because those were not the times of cell phones or technology. So the flashlight would be the indication of the fact that the enemy was there in the island. So this ways he helps him in escaping. The enemy goes to the island, and what the enemy is supposed to do, he has to hide in the island, on the island, and not only he has to hide on the island, but he has to wait for the Korean fishing boat and take lift from Korean fishing boat and then escape. On the same, on the next day, the general again suffers from the pain and his surgery is done and the surgery is successful. And then while Sadao is talking to the general, he says, Your Majesty, you were saying that you will be sending assassins to my house, but you never sent anyone. And the enemy escaped on his own. So the general says, let me make a confession that I was suffering so much that I practically forgot about the matter. So here again, the characteristic feature of General Takima comes to light, that he's such a selfish man that he was all the time thinking of his own self, about his operation. Also, somewhere in his subconscious that was going on, that if he will complain about Sadao to the higher authorities, then he would be either hanged or he will be given life imprisonment. And if that is going to happen, then who will operate him? So selfish. He is selfish to the core, the general. So Sadao understands his character, that he hasn't sent any assassins. So finally, the story is over here. the same day Sadao, he just, at the time of twilight, he looks at the island, but there is no flashlight, which is an indication to the fact that the enemy Tom escaped. He must have got left from Korean fishing boat and he is not there. At the end of the story, last paragraph, whole paragraph, we are told that Sadao just did his duty of a surgeon. That is his moral responsibility to save the life of his patient, and he is, is above all caste and creed barriers. He hates Americans. That is what he confesses to the readers. But then also he saved the life of the American soldiers because he is a surgeon and his duty, responsibility, moral duty is that only that he should be giving life to his patient. He is no one to take the life of his patients, and all the human beings should be treated equally by us. We should not be biased that this person belongs to the enemy nation, and especially for a surgeon, it's very, very important. Sadao's character is really, I should say, one character trait is highlighted over here, that he tells it to the reader that when he went to America for the study of medicines, then he was a victim of racial discrimination. Then it would have been really possible that he would have discriminated. But then also, all the Americans treated him in an inferior manner. Then also, he saves the life of the enemy. So it's a beautiful story, slightly big. I hope that you have understood it. So see you soon with my next video. Till then, bye-bye.